And we begin this newscast with some news alert coming in from Pakistan, as sources have told Wion that Pakistani government will detain and investigate Masood Azhar after his listing today. That is, if China lifts the technical hold. This is the latest that we are picking on. Sources have informed Wion that Pakistan is expected to arrest Masood Azhar and that Pakistan government will detain and investigate Masood Azhar after his listing today, and that is only if China lifts the technical hold. So today is going to be a very pivotal day for India and China relations, as China will finally take a decision under the 1267 committee of the UNSC. For more details on this news story, let me quickly go across to our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who joins us for more from Islamabad. Anas, once the Chinese propose that action can be taken against Masood Azhar, what finally happens next? Do we expect Masood Azhar to be arrested?
Well, Akansha, the UNSC committee does not ask any government to arrest a particular individual. Instead, it asks for three basics. That is, to put an arms embargo. That means that person cannot buy any arms, or if they have any arms, that would be confiscated by the host government, number one. Number two, their assets, both movable and immovable, would stand frozen and the property of the government. And number three, there would be a travel ban that would be ensured on that particular person. That means that if he has to go from one particular city to another, he would have to seek the permission of the local government or the local police as well, and he cannot move without it. But Pakistani government, in addition, what top sources have been telling, that once Masood Azhar is listed under the 1267 sanctions committee, he will be briefly detained and then later on can be arrested as well. Now remember, under the Pakistani law, anybody can be detained without any charges for at least 90 days, and then their remand can be sought even if without any incriminating evidence is found. What government sources are also telling beyond that, he will be detained and investigated for any pending FIRs. Remember, he was nominated in the FIR of the Pathankot incident that was lodged by the state of Pakistan in Gujranwala in 2016 on the request of the Indian NSA, Mr. Ajit Doval, to the Pakistani Prime Minister, the then Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So that will be interesting.
Right.
Remember, Masood Azhar was also detained in 2016, briefly detained for about 7 months, and then after what the then government of Punjab had said, that there was no evidence that was provided, quote unquote, the reason he was able to walk free. Yes, Akansha.
All right. So a detention that could be followed by an arrest is what we can expect, apart from those three sanctions that you just informed us about. Anas, also, can Pakistan afford not to act on Masood Azhar, and terrorism, especially in the wake of a threat from the FATF, because we all know that Pakistan risks being blacklisted by the FATF?
Well, the Pakistani administration certainly cannot afford not to act against Masood Azhar or Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hafiz Saeed, or particularly against those 34 individuals from that 8 organizations that the FATF press release had mentioned on the 22nd of February just this year. So the Pakistani administration has to act, though the Pakistani administration is hell-bent to say that the basic problem with FATF remains the rate of conviction. That is that IO10, that is that one problem, that is that main point of conjunction between the Pakistani administration and the Financial Action Task Force as well. But in addition to that, the Pakistani side has to act against these individuals. Something that is very, very pertinent is to mention over here is that, Akansha, that the Pakistani Prime Minister himself has endorsed this. Remember, earlier when we saw the arrest of Masood Azhar's brother and his son about a month and a half ago, we were hearing reports that the Interior Ministry had recommended to the competent authority, that was the Prime Minister himself, and the Prime Minister was to take a decision himself on the arrest of Masood Azhar. Now this detention has indeed been approved by the Pakistani Prime Minister, because it comes in the wake of a possible backlash that is expected on the streets of Pakistan, given that Masood Azhar's followers are religiously inclined fanatics, and the backlash would be faced by the people of Pakistan, by the common people. The reason this decision has been taken by the Prime Minister, by taking all stakeholders on board after consultations. Yes, Akansha.
Anas, last but not the least, since Pakistan was the governing factor that had been, stopping China from, that was actually coaxing China to put that technical hold on the blacklisting of Masood Azhar, how will today's move, if it is in favor of India, impact China-Pakistan relationship? Will it impact at all? Because we all know that the Pakistani Prime Minister was in Beijing last week.
Well, there are two sides to this. The Indian Foreign Secretary was recently in Beijing as well, and the Pakistani Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. The Foreign Minister had went a day earlier, and he was in Beijing, and he held that strategic bilateral consultations as well. That included acting against these terror elements. That includes Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar. Certainly, it would be an impact to both the Pakistan-China relations as well. But what we also have to see it is in the backdrop that the Pakistani Prime Minister just recently signed the phase 2 of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, and any decision would not have been taken, let alone by the Chinese side, but in fact in consultations, or rather on the behest of the Pakistani administration. There must have been some diplomatic give and take that must have been done, and what we understand is that there would have been done, though what exactly the prospects to it would be revealed later today around Pakistan time, between 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. when that draft proposal is finally moved, and in all likelihood China is likely to take away to move its technical hold. So that is to be seen, that what diplomatic giveaways, that give and take has been agreed upon. But that is something certain, that anything that has been agreed between Pakistan and China to list Masood Azhar, that is from the Chinese side, that to remove that technical hold, that is certainly done on the behest of the Pakistani administration.
Also, Anas, in the real sense, will today's move curtail curtail Masood Azhar's anti-terror activities for which he has been listed?
Certainly it will, because as I said, these three embargoes that are in place, that these three checks that the Pakistani administration will be liable to put him under, that would be the arms embargo, that if he has any arms under his name, they would be seized and submitted to the government. If he has any movable or immovable assets under his name, they would be put under the government's control. And thirdly, his travel ban. Now, his travel ban might be international, but that implies locally as well. That means if he has to go from one city to another, he would have to inform the local police administration and seek their permission. Not just inform them, but seek their permission, justify his travel, justify his source of income, his means of travel, and so on.
Right.
And the second part to this is, that is very, very critical, is the fact that the Pakistani administration would also have to is also eyeing to put him under the Anti-Terror Act, the ATS Schedule 4. That means that Masood Azhar would practically be under house arrest, homebound until further orders. So that means his investigations would be ongoing as well. He would not be allowed to leave one city to another without any prior permission. So that would essentially mean curtailing down the terror activities of Jaish-e-Mohammed by and large. Yes,
right.
Akansha.
It is certainly going to curtail his terror activities and Jaish-e-Mohammed's terror activities by and large. Very rightly pointed out by you. Anas, my last question to you is, there has been tremendous speculation about Masood Azhar's ill health. Do we have any knowledge of his whereabouts?
Well, his whereabouts are unknown as we speak. Last, what sources were telling from the security establishment were telling Wion, when I spoke to them, they said that he was last spotted somewhere in the Afghanistan-Pakistan border region, but there is no confirmation which side of the border he is. Though, as we speak, I'll take you back to the Pakistani Foreign Minister's statement that was on the 3rd of March to the BBC, and he said that he is in Pakistan. He is critically ill. What I can confirm, that indeed Masood Azhar is critically ill. He's been undergoing dialysis as well, but as we speak, there is no definitive word on his exact whereabouts. But I'm sure the Pakistani security establishment would be knowing about it. The reason they're eyeing for his detention as well. Yes, Akansha.
Right, some very interesting points shared by you over there, Anas. Thank you so much for bringing us all the details. We will keep coming back to you as and when more information arrives from the UN.